Hi, everyone. Welcome back to As Told by Zink with your host, Samantha. I'm in studio with Sydney. How are you, my love?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well. This is airing in literally a month, but Sydney and I are working together on a very special campaign, and you flew in last night. How was your flight? It looked crazy.
It was it's a long flight
I felt
from Rhode
bad
Island.
looking at it.
No, I'm just super appreciative to be here and that you thought of me to come. This is obviously something I'm really passionate about and that I think we need to talk a lot more about. So
Yeah,
I will
agree.
fly hours for this.
But there's no direct flights.
Not from Providence. I don't even know about Boston.
Oh my gosh.
But
I'm actually going to Boston Friday.
Oh, are you?
Yes, but the flight situation was it was hard, but I did I'm doing a red eye. I don't know why.
No, those are the best to do though. Oh.
Yeah, they're the best, but it's 5 hours of sleep and then
Yeah.
I'm I have to see family. So I'm was it a good idea? I don't know.
Yeah, no. Wait, where are you from?
I'm from New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I have family in Boston, and we're okay, we never get together. Let's just get together.
Yeah.
So I'm coming in, but that flight seems easier, Boston, than to you. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I live in Newport, Rhode Island, so the closest airport is Providence, but Boston, it's an hour and a half away. So.
Yeah,
Wouldn't mind,
well, I'm glad you didn't have to drive there. I didn't realize how far it is.
Yeah.
I have no
No.
concept of location at all. I thought Boston was 30 minutes away or something.
No. I mean, honestly, it is a lot closer than from somewhere that's 20 miles from here. I could get there way faster. I mean, traffic here is wild.
Well, welcome. Oh my God, after that flight, I'm geez, we're going to have a fun day though.
Yeah.
We have a day fun packed of all these things. We're going to get a meal at 2:30, which is the weirdest time.
It's, our dinner.
It's
Our
a
2:30
lunch
dinner.
We're
going to be with all the seniors. I love that.
Oh my gosh, if any, really. But yeah, so I want to sort of, I guess, top line, we are working on a campaign with Cybersmile, which is an anti-cyberbullying nonprofit, and Zink Talent has officially partnered with them. I wanted to bring on people who have a platform and experience because my whole thing is when I figured out I wanted to do something about this, I kept seeing on TikTok everyone getting bullied. Influencers. I own a talent agency. And so my idea was I want to make a difference and I don't have a following, but I know some people who do, right? So I heard your story and I felt there was a lot of synergy and you would resonate with this nonprofit. So we had a Zoom and I was hey, I have an idea. Do you want to come on board? And you were so sweet and you wanted to really share your story. So then hopefully we can help other people because it's messed up.
No, it totally is. And I think that too, when you're in the public eye, it's obviously you kind of expect some of that, but you don't realize how much it actually affects you. And people don't realize that at the end of the day, I am a human being and it does really hurt. So for me too, it's first off, I'm a Leo. And I care about what people think about me and how they view me. And so to have such, all these negative comments based off of who I am as a person, my appearance, every single aspect of me was so hard. And for me, I've always been so sure of myself. And then I was catching myself actually thinking I really don't like the person that I am. So that was really hard and something that I was struggling with for a bit, the last, I would say 6 months. I'm a lot better now, a lot better. I think I'm stronger from it, but not many people get out of it like I did.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I do feel now, if you go viral or you're in the public eye, I feel like every single person who gets a following has a negative experience. I do think there's a positive experience, but I've been noticing there's just so much hate. Even if somebody just goes viral for sharing something on TikTok, and it's like so much hate going on. And I don't know if this has always been a thing. I do feel like it's, you and I were talking, and I'm like, I think it's a TikTok thing. I don't see it as much on Instagram, or do you see both?
I see both. I saw both. I think that for TikTok, it's the effort that goes into making a video about, and I mean, the algorithm is insane. Like while everything was going on and I was on TikTok, my entire algorithm was hateful videos about me, and just seeing the engagement and people feeding off each other and literally dogpiling hate on me I was living a nightmare. Like, I was actually living this nightmare, and it was like one thing after another. Like, at this point, nothing was surprising me. Like, I could tell you so many stories, like people from high school that I had nothing but great things to say about them, looking for attention by saying that I was this terrible person. Oh. Yeah, like my friend texted me a picture of this girl. She screenshotted this girl's profile, and she was like, Sydney, do you know this girl? And I was like, yes, I used to work with her. I love her. She's great. My friend was like, no, she's not great. And I was like, what do you mean she's not great? She said, she is bashing you on TikTok right now.
Wow. Just trying to get, they're just trying to get clout from you.
Yeah.
Just being in, the same city or high school as you.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. And then there was a girl that I didn't even know I went to high school with. She wasn't in my grade. We never had classes together. On Reddit, saying I bullied her.
Oh, my God.
I didn't even, my school was massive, my high school. So, yeah, and the thing is that it really hurt me hearing all of these things. And obviously, because at this point, because I was in the public eye and the way that I was perceived, I wasn't, anything I say or did was not valid. If I stuck up for myself, no one was going to listen anyways. And so I kind of just had to sit back and watch all of this unfold. And so actually, too, I was in a 4-year relationship prior to me going on the show. And we had a very cordial breakup. I broke up with him, but it was very much like, you're just not my person. I think we're going our separate ways, kind of thing like that. And nothing but the utmost respect for him. And people were going to his profile, commenting these hateful things like, wow, don't know how you dealt with Sydney. She's a sociopath. Let's make this man a GoFundMe. And he liked the comments.
Wow.
And then I was on TikTok, and during this time, I was trying to stay off social media. It was just a dark place. And but I just so happened to go on, and the first video was an entire college town watching the show that I was on a projector, and they were like, when your whole college town hates Sydney. And in the comments, my ex goes, LOL, when Sydney's your ex. Looking.
He doesn't even know these people?
No.
Oh,
it was just a video that had 4 million views.
It sounds to me like people are just trying. What was his intention? Is he enjoying?
I think it was for clout, for attention, and
yeah, he's just enjoying the attention, being this superhero of the moment.
I got through being with her. Or, I don't know what he was looking for, but I know it was attention. I actually, when I saw it, I was so frustrated, and I'm just I am going through a living nightmare, and me and you never had any bad blood between each other. So why all of a sudden are you engaging on all this hate?
Yeah.
And I was I screenshotted the comment, and he just never responded to me.
I was going to say, I have a feel it would just irk me even if he didn't acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And he's in another relationship. So it's like why would you do that? And like I think that I'm in therapy. I had 2 therapists at once. But I've learned that it's never really about me. It's always stems from something else, something deeper, something that they're dealing with, like their traumas and things like that. And I think like maybe he held a certain, I don't know, like maybe because I ended things with him, like there was a certain something that he had, like he resented me in some sort of way, which I mean, that's really sad if that's the case. But at the end of the day, like he knew me so well, like more than anyone.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big chunk of your life.
Big chunk of my life.
In your 20s.
Yeah. And like we'll forever have, like I will forever care about him. And I thought that feeling was mutual.
I have a little insight.
Okay.
I feel, this is my take, and I'm a very straightforward Taurus. I like call it how it is.
Okay.
I think these people, did you come from a small town?
I did come from a small town.
They're having a little taste of celebrity.
Yeah.
And they're jumping on it. I don't think it has to do with you breaking up with him. I think like he was getting like high off of this like little taste of celebrity.
Yeah.
And he kept it going.
He really thought he was doing something too.
I don't think it has anything to do with you. I think he was like in his ego and like loving every moment.
True.
But say things took a turn and you ended your life, then like, was it worth it?
Right.
Was it worth it for all these people like getting a little taste of celebrity?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, that's what blows my mind is people don't know the effects it has on you and other people that they cyberbully. Like
Right.
it's not just like a joke.
Right.
It's insane.
Right. And I think our mindset, even just how when we look at a person, it's like, I notice that it's so quick to judge. It's so quick to like point their flaws out, but it stems from your own insecurities. A lot of people do that. Whereas like for me, I've practiced like what I put out is what I receive, and I look at people and like I say like you know, like I care for you. Even if I don't even know you, I say, I care for you. And like, because at the same time, we're all people. We all live in this world with these standards and we're all struggling together as like, and then instead of, you know, bringing each other down when you know you're dealing with the same exact like standards and insecurities, like lifting each other up, especially like women, like our standards are, it's insane. And then for other women to put each other down, it's disgusting. Like it truly is. And for me, like I was saying to you before, like for me, I am a pretty, like prior to me being in the public eye, like I was a pretty secure person. Whereas people who deal with mental health, I truly don't know if I did deal with mental health, I don't know if I would be here today. Like I truly hated myself. I couldn't get out of bed. I had zero motivation. I didn't love the things that I love to do. I have a business. I have a vintage store and a marketing agency. And I had zero motivation to do anything.
You were like almost drowning.
I was drowning. I would wake up every day and I'm like, oh my God, this is real. Like this nightmare is real.
Yeah. I mean, and you didn't have experience with social media in that capacity before. So going viral or anything like that, it's always going to be, you know, yesterday's news and there will be on to the next person. But I do feel like there are like long-term things that you will deal with still, even though it's not going to be talked about forever. It's like you'll always have this experience in the back of your mind, and you'll always have to deal with like your insecurities now if they stemmed from this too. So I just want to know like what people think like when they're bashing somebody. Like what is the outcome? What's the point? What do they want you to do?
I really think it's projection of like
Yeah.
what they're going through. It's like, how can you hate me this much when you don't know me? You know, it doesn't make sense. And it's like, it's definitely a projection of things and traumas that they're going through, which it's not an excuse. It's not. I
Yeah.
think that we need to bring awareness to that. It's like there needs to be another outlet instead of bringing other people down.
Yeah, and I remember when we were speaking, I was like, I bet you some of these people have children, and you're like, yeah, they're literal mothers.
Yes, I could literally pull up the voicemails I've received of.
They got your number?
So because I have a store,
Oh my gosh.
my phone number is public, my store's number, and so basically what it is it's a different number than my personal number, and it sends to my phone though. And there was a period of time where we were getting calls all day long, and I had to shut off the phone. Like, so we couldn't run my business the way that I normally would with the phone being on, because
Wow.
people were calling that much. And I was having people say the most outlandish things, crazy, inappropriate things that it's just like, I don't know how you could have hate me this much to go out of your way to call me. And yeah, it was insane. It was insane.
It almost like doesn't seem real. Like
Yeah.
I've never heard of this. Like, I mean, I've seen this on TikTok happen to other people, yes, but like hearing your story, I'm like, are you actually kidding me? Like
Yeah.
that people like. It's more than just like TikTok and Instagram. Like these people are literally. Did anybody like approach you?
I've been approached many times, but it never was negative. It was
Okay.
always
That's good.
positive, and spreading love. And it's just like, why is that not the same mindset on social media? It's like, I know that people are behind a screen and they get all of this, you know, confidence to project this hate, but it's like, we've, you know, over time, like if you see something, if you don't have anything nice to say, you don't say it. You don't do it in person. I mean, bullying does happen in schools and things like that, but it's not to the extent of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is just completely different, and it's it's insane. And I think that we should have the same mindset. Like, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it. Don't say it in person. Don't say it through social media.
It's just, and on TikTok, people, so if there's like a video, people are like responding with their own video about you. You were just seeing like videos on responses.
Yeah, there was
piling
videos of people recording me, flipping me off, using like just trending audios that were like anything related to like hating you, or like just there was a girl that like lived apparently in the same town that my store is in and filmed the store, and it was like hoe, like calling me a hoe, and it just like got so many views. And then there was college students that were in the back of my store like filming it, and like they were celebrating because I was like eliminated off the show. I have to get that out,
In
but
your store.
they were out in the back.
Oh. I mean, it's almost like, were you afraid to even like leave your house?
Yes.
Because again, you don't live in a large city. Like you kind of know the people and they know you. So it's like someone could attack you. I mean, this seems like it's like getting dangerous.
Yeah, well, this was so new to me, and I couldn't believe the extent people were going through social media, like sending me literal death threats. So I was like, what extent will people go in person? Like, I really was so scared for my life. And then the fact that people knew where my store was in the location and like could go there and show up there. Yeah. I'm there by myself. I'm there late sometimes. It's like, it's scary. It's super scary. And I would be in the store and I would hear people walk by they didn't know it was there, and they'd be like, we should egg it. We should throw a rock through it.
Oh my gosh. Did you see like a pattern of like who this person was? Like these people that hate you, are they like young women, men, women, age, or is it just a little bit of everyone?
I would say majority women. I wouldn't say there was a particular age, because it was like alarming to me, the amount of people who were older and they were moms, and they would talk to me, they would say things to me that were just like literally barbaric. Wow. Insane. Yeah. And then but there were even men DMing me to let me know that they and their girlfriend hate me.
What?
Yes.
This is just, I think that this is the only time in history I've heard of this happening to, like, I feel like there's a lot of people getting canceled on social media. I saw this, like, large influencer, Haley, because people felt like she wasn't talking about politics enough, you know, and there's, like, certain things going on. And people would just call her out. But in your situation, I mean, I don't think I've ever heard of anything like this. I think that, it actually makes me think, like, have you heard of somebody going through this that you, like, confided in?
Yeah, so there were other people that have gone through a similar experience being on a reality TV show and getting hate that way. And basically they were saying that, like, my feelings are valid, and but just like not to blame myself and stand in my truth. And but they also say, like, with the way that this cyber bullying world is, especially if you're like in the public eye, like, it will pass, like their attention spans are very short, but there is like a long lasting effect that always stays, you know? Like,
I could see that.
Yeah.
If you wanted to work in something outside of what you're doing now, if people see what had happened, that's their impression of you. Right. Even not knowing the truth. So it will always affect you and follow you, even though you didn't deserve it.
Yeah. That's the thing, too. It's like many people will say, so I just recently posted a TikTok about how I was getting 1-star reviews on my store where people literally they weren't even there. They never went to my store, but they were because they saw the show. They were giving me 1-star reviews. Even some people were going to the extent where they were making up stories about how I told them they wouldn't fit into something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would never do that, ever.
I mean, like who, and at the end of the day, you're a business owner. Why are you only, like, this isn't like a Brandy Melville situation.
No, I know. Like, and the whole,
it's so crazy.
My whole brand for my store is, it's a place for all folks. It's a place for everybody to feel accepted and not judged. Like, that is the whole point of our brand. So for people to say that is, it's just like really upsetting, because my store was at 5 stars, and then post show it was at 3.8.
That's insane.
And then, I mean, there's always pros and cons to social media, and like the fact that I shared my story about how my business was being affected in that way. There were people that were going in and giving me 5 stars, which brought it up so much, which is great. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's like it should have never had to have been that way in the first place.
I agree. When you went into this, I guess, new chapter of your life, did you feel like you would come out, like, what was your, like, thought process? Like, my life will be changed, and for the better, and it'll bring me where I need to go. Like, you were excited, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I didn't really have any expectations. I did think that this would be an incredibly positive experience for me. I didn't expect it to be the hardest thing I've ever had to go through.
I mean, yeah, because it's like, just think about how you were feeling, you know, that day. And you were probably like, this is just where I'm supposed to go. I'm following my intuition. And then fast forward to you probably just like, I can just being like locked in your house, not wanting to go outside, questioning everything.
Yeah, right.
Needing two therapists. It's like, I'm sure you're like, why did I even do it in the first place?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, it should be positive.
Right. I mean, I get this question a lot. Like, do you regret taking on that experience? And I say, no, I don't. Like, while it was like peak, like when I was like receiving all of that hate, I would say yes then. Like, I regret it so much.
Yeah.
But I think now I don't, because I feel like I've honestly am a voice to people who are going through what I went through. And I do feel a lot stronger. I feel like I'm not as much of trying to search for people's acceptance, because at the end of the day, I know who I am, and like, I know that I'm a good person, and I know now that I wasn't deserving of any of that.
Yeah.
Even though at the time I felt like, am I deserving of this? Like, so, yeah. And when I was just saying about the reviews, the 1-star reviews, people were saying, well, you deserved it, like karma. And I'm just like, no, like,
By
that's
one
not
star's
true.
karma.
Like,
Thank you.
Yeah, like, no, first off, this isn't even related to my story in any
Oh my
way.
gosh.
Yeah,
It's insane.
it is.
And did you see, you know, with the people doing like 5 stars, and like, do people check on you? Like, when you're getting cyberbullied, do you feel like, wow, my people actually don't give a fuck about me, like not checking in, or did you feel more loved than ever?
I would say I'm super lucky, because I do have such a core group of people in my life that, oh my God, I'm gonna like get emotional thinking about it, but yeah, like, they are. I don't think I would be here if it wasn't for them. Like,
Good,
their
I'm
support.
glad.
It was really hard to see how it like affected my family. The more, like, I would say for me, I went through it and it was really hard for me, but like, it affected my mom, like, her seeing me go through all of that, and then her feel so helpless.
Yeah, because I do feel like when these things happen, sometimes some people may look around and be like, I have nobody. And then
Yeah.
I'm so happy in your case that you had everybody come a bit closer.
Right.
Because it just shows that you are a good person.
Yeah.
Because your real friends know the real you. Your family knows you. You know, the people that love and know you pre-social media know that you are not deserving of this, and people's narrative is wrong about you. You know, it's just crazy to me, because I just can't believe what goes through people's mind of like, I'm gonna bully somebody just because of who I think they are. And what is the outcome? What did they want Sydney to do? You to like, what was the outcome? What did they actually genuinely want you to do?
Right.
From all the bullying? They want you to lose your store and have no money? And
Yeah. Like, really, what is their motive? Did they want did they want me literally off this earth? Because I've had people basically say that they want me to die.
Like, in the craziest thing, not giving too much information, is it's really not that deep.
No.
Like, you were not killing puppies.
No.
Here. Like, we
No.
a little like,
And I think
a little
like,
light in the air with the puppy thing.
I think that's the thing. I think that everyone lost like the whole. It's
not that deep.
It's not that deep, and never was. And like, at the end of the day, like, my intentions were always good. Like,
Yeah.
for me, I'm just like, at the end of the day, I'm trying not to talk about the show.
I'm just a girl.
Just a girl. No, I mean, like, the thing is that I just, at the end of the day, I just value my friendships so deeply. Like, and because I have a small family and my friends to me are my family.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, like, overall, my intentions are always just to be like a good person and a good friend and a good daughter, and like that's really it, and be a good business owner, and like that's who I want to be. And now I feel like I want to be a voice for people that are going through what I went through.
Yeah.
And fun fact, so I didn't know anything about, depression and anxiety. I definitely had anxiety as a kid. I didn't really know, but and this was obvious. This was before the social media. I think like I had Facebook at this time. So I was 15, and I had a friend that told me that she wanted to die. And like at that point, I'm like, why would you want to die? Like it was never talked about. No one talked about wanting to kill themselves. But I was 15, I was young, I was a freshman in high school. So at this time I told my mom, and I was like, this is crazy that people feel this way and no one talks about it, no one knows about it. So at 15, I started a Facebook group called THADA. It was Teen Health and Depression Awareness, and it blew up. It blew up. People were posting their stories on the page, on the page, and it was creating this like really amazing community, and people were having each other's backs. But it got so much that my school ended up taking it over.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And for
this is what a fact.
Right. So it's like, for me, I feel like it's kind of coming back full circle, where it's like, okay, this is something that when I was young, like this is something that I wanted to talk about more and like bring awareness to more. And like, but at the time I didn't really know it firsthand. And now with cyberbullying and TikTok and how crazy and out of hand it's getting, it's like now that I witnessed it firsthand and I can really empathize with people who are going through that, I think that I can talk about it more and bring more awareness to it. So yeah.
And it shows how empathetic you are that you did that for your friend.
Yeah.
Being like, this doesn't resonate. I love my life. Facebook's great. Social media is great, all is well. But you wanted to do something for your friend.
Right.
When you created that group and everyone was sharing their stories, did your friend know that was like for her? And did that help her situation or what she's going through?
So originally I didn't say that it was for her. I didn't want her to feel like there was a spotlight on her or anything. But then when it started getting big, I was like, I do want you to know that like you inspired me to start this. And she was super honored. And so yeah, and that was really alarming to me at how many people could relate, because I had no idea.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of like and what did I tell you when we spoke a few weeks ago? I was like, I know that this is really bad, but I feel like it's your sole purpose. Which is just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, this is bad, but it's good. You know what I mean?
Right,
Where I'm
right.
like, there's so many people going through mental health issues right now, and depression and anxiety more than ever. I feel like Gen Z is speaking out of like all of these things on TikTok.
Right.
And, we talk about mental health all the time. But when I started seeing this cyberbullying, I would say it's a movement at this point.
Right.
It's trending, right, to be a cyberbully. I was like, why is no one talking about this?
Yeah.
You know what people don't talk about anymore? They don't talk about cyberbullying. They don't talk about eating disorders. Like, why is no one like alarmed by any of these things?
Right.
So, and it, just like you, I was like, I've never been cyberbullied, but I want to help. How can I help? So I do feel like, and it is like full circle for you, because now you're part of this global cyberbullying, anti-cyberbullying campaign, and we plan to do amazing things. But it's kind of crazy because you had not gone through it before.
Right.
I mean, do you feel like drawn to this? And are you like, why me? Why am I the voice of this?
Yeah, I mean, I think too, I thought about this, and I think that we have to go through the hardest times to have the best lessons. Like, and I wouldn't trade anything that I went through, and give it to somebody else. Like, I think like for me, I'm not obviously glad I took it on, but I'm glad that it was me, because I do feel like I came out of this, and I really do feel like most people, and so one of my friends, she said to me, she was like, thank God, Sydney, that you have a good head on your shoulders, because not many people can go through this. So the fact that now I think I do have that strength to have come out of it, I do want to make sure that it's not going to happen to somebody else,
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it's me.
That is insanely powerful. Like, I have chills. I'm glad it was me. I mean, that says so much.
Yeah.
And I do feel like it happened to you. And I feel like the words we're using is so weird, but at a great time, because it's like crazy out there on social media. And I was even telling you, like, I saw another girl on Love is Blind and just getting so
Chelsea.
much hate.
I would say
what? Totally different situation.
Totally
but
different.
I'm like, why are we putting all of our energy into if she looks like Megan Fox or not? Like, is it that deep?
It's so crazy, because that we were going through it at the complete same time. And it was like I was getting so much hate, and then the episode of Chelsea came out, and then it was like silent for a little bit. And then my episode came out again, and it was right back to me. It's like, it was so
you saw
insane.
It like ping-ponging?
Yes. It was like, wow, the attention spans of these people are insane. It's so crazy.
Like, what?
Yeah. And she's another one too. And like, I've been wanting to reach out to her, because she's so incredibly strong. And like, I do feel her and I are kind of coming out of it the same way, and it's good to be a little self-deprecating sometimes too, like and make jokes about it, but at the same time, like most of the things that were said about us is not okay, and like we shouldn't make jokes about these things, because they shouldn't be said. They shouldn't. Like, for me to be called insufferable over and over and over again is not okay.
No. Or even just like, I didn't watch Love is Blind
Neither did
this
I,
season, but I'm like, I'm sure that was like the smallest part of an episode that people just like took and ran with it.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I saw the craziest things. I saw people like actually taking her body and making it smaller and being like skinnier and being like, you know, I actually kind of see it here. I do see it. I saw so many videos about it. And I'm like, all of like these videos and angles, it's like, it's insane. Like, leave this girl alone.
Yeah.
Like, she has dark hair and blue eyes. Like, who cares?
To be honest, I saw it. I think she looks like Megan Fox. I can see it.
I did too. The nose. And
yeah.
But do we need to make...
But it doesn't...
Who has the time to make her body skinnier to see, like...
Right.
Oh my God, do people not have jobs anymore? Like, what is going on?
It's insane.
And then imagine she gets an eating disorder. It's like, we need to do better and stop and like leave people alone. And I honestly don't remember anything positive on TikTok coming from shows. Like, I don't think I see anything positive.
Right.
It's always negative. If you go viral, people are saying something negative about you.
Right. And the thing is too, it's like what I was saying before, like the dogpiling of hate, it's like that's what gets exposure. It's like, because they're all agreeing with each other and they're doing it for their own personal clout. Whereas if somebody was to be like, hey, you know, and talk about it positively, it's not going to be getting the engagement, because people are only really boosting the hate, and it's just really disappointing.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And I mean, do you think like TikTok, what are you doing? Like they're
Right.
like pushing these videos. So like
Exactly.
someone at
That's what I'm
TikTok
saying.
needs to like, I mean, what's going on internally? We're just like pushing hate. But then I have a client who has a campaign and she shows her arm and it's nudity. But they can flag that. But all of the hate and bullying to you and Chelsea and whoever else, it's like it's not getting flagged. Like why?
And it's because probably their engagement is through the app is so good.
It's insane.
But it's so
like-
crazy how people get this high off of being so hateful. And I think it's just really comes down to projection, and like we need to change the mindset of people.
I
Truly.
agree. And if you do anything in your life that people don't agree with, they don't have to agree with everything you do.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it doesn't need an Instagram or a TikTok post about it.
Right.
Like they don't know you, they'll never meet you. They can watch content, they can watch shows, and like just keep it to yourself and move on with your life. Do not bully somebody to needing 2 therapists and like
Right.
questioning their life and having insecurities. Like it just, we need to do better as people. I mean, I have this one client and he is more, I would say he's like more on the feminine side, but he's a straight guy and he has a large TikTok following, over 1 million, and he'll post videos and gay guys will respond, like duet the video or whatever and make fun of him and be like, come out of the closet. And I'm like, you, a gay man who was probably bullied in high school that probably wanted to end your life, now you're bullying somebody who is straight just because they're a little feminine.
Right.
Make it make sense.
Right.
Like that was also part of the reason why I started this campaign, is because I started seeing that and I'm like, how are gay guys like bullying straight guys into coming out over TikTok for everyone to see, making fun of them?
Right.
What? Like forgetting like everything that they went through to come out.
Right. It
Blows my mind. It like,
it's-
I just can't understand it. Like I want to like throw all of these bullies in a room and be like, 10 questions. Like I need to understand your brain.
Right.
Like what's going on in your mind?
Right.
Is it a chemical imbalance? We're not in high school anymore. I could see maybe a young kid being a bully. They don't know any better.
Right.
Like, you know, we all had like the bullies in middle school and stuff. And like, I look back, I'm like, it's silly, but you know them as adults in their 20s and like they probably regret that because they grew up.
Right.
Now these are adults bullying. So
Right.
it's like, where do we go from here? How can we stop
Right.
this chaos and just
I
be
know.
good people?
It's like you'd think that at this time you'd grow out of it and you'd be
It's
an
like
adult
getting worse.
and like right.
It's
Right.
insane. Like adult bullies. Why are you on TikTok? Like you're like 50 years old.
Right.
Go get off TikTok and go to work and
Yeah, or
Just
like
what are we doing?
right. Or like hang out with your kid. Like there was this guy that he basically was telling me, he called the store that went to my phone, going on and on and on about how disgusting I am, and he's like, I would never want my son to end up with someone like you.
This man had
And
the time to call your store.
Yes, and I wanted to be like, well, I don't think I want to be your daughter-in-law the way you're talking to me. But no, just it's really insane. It's insane.
It just goes like so crazy. Did you ever respond, rebuttal? You
No.
never had like a "this is my story" Instagram reel or TikTok? You never.
Oh, I
have,
did
like,
talk.
Spoke out.
I did. Yes.
And how did
about
that go?
To be honest, it took a weight off of me. It was like the first time I spoke out, and I basically was talking about how we need to do better. We need to be better. The fact that we are being so hateful, you don't know what people are going through. You really don't. And like for me, I was the lowest point in my life, and like to hear that I'd be better off dead, talking about my body and like all of my insecurities being constantly thrown at me it's not okay. So basically when I said that, it got 1 million views, which, yeah, it's 1 million views, but for the amount of engagement that these hate videos were getting, 4 million, 5 million views. And I had like 3,000 likes out of the 1 million views. 3,000. This is supposed to be a positive, you know, I was trying to be a voice for people that were also going through a similar situation as me, like, and for it to only do that, it was honestly disappointing, because I just wanted to say, like, we need to do better. And I had to shut off my comments because people were saying, you deserve this. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So then you're like, I mean, it would be eating at me too. I'd be like, I need to say something. I always have to say something. So for you to like hold and then do one video, like I can imagine that being like a relief. Like, okay, I finally, because everyone has a narrative about you but yourself.
Right.
Everyone like thinks they know you and they're just like taking their own storyline. Like it's like your life, who you are. You're allowed to speak your truth.
Right.
Like you finally spoke your truth and you're like, what did that even get me?
Yeah. It's people, once they have like this idea of you in their head, they don't want it to change, I realized. I mean, I wouldn't say that. I would say it's a lot better, and people who have been following me have been seeing who I really am, and they're really turning around, which is great. But it's just sad that it got to what it was prior to that. Like, it should have never been like that.
I mean, I think even if you get a large following, just sharing your beauty routines, right? Like I think like Alex Earl was a great example of this, of like everyone was obsessed with her, but then I'd also see like 10% of the content just being like, this girl is trash, she's a partier, don't follow her, like all of this stuff. And I'm like, all she's doing is just putting out content that she loves. Why does she deserve to have you give your 2 cents about her?
Right.
Like, and that she's 21 years old. Let her party.
If the content's not for you, then just don't engage. Don't follow.
It's like everybody, even if you blow up from something positive, there's a negative.
Always.
Why is just in a time where you want to blow up, I bet you I could pull people with millions of followers, Dixie, Charlie, get everyone in a room right here, Noah Beck. Would you want this life?
Right.
They probably would say no. No one wants to have millions of followers anymore. Charlie and Dixie don't even post content because it was just so much hate, so much mental abuse. It's not crazy.
Right.
And people around the world are like, you want this. Like, you want to blow up. I want to be an influencer. I want to be in the public eye. You don't. Like, you genuinely don't.
Right.
And that's sad. Like, how can we change it to something positive?
I know. Seriously.
Where you guys are, like, coming off and partnering with Revolve and stuff. Like, what happened to that era?
Right.
You know? Like, now it's like... times have changed, and I don't know what the switch was. But one of my last questions, I have 2 questions for you.
Okay.
One is, obviously, I don't want you to like feel weird about this question, but speaking your truth and sharing who you are, I now know you. I think you're the sweetest person ever. If anyone has anything bad to say about you, I'm like, you clearly don't know her. Like get to know her. But who is the real Sydney? What do you like to do? Like, what was your life, pre-social media?
Yeah.
Like, you have close-knit friends. Like, who's the real you that never got to be shown?
Yeah. So I am the most incredibly caring person. I was saying to you before, like, my friends are my family. I love my family so deeply, and I value being a good person. I value I have a business. I value my business and sustainability and things like that. And I love where I live. I live in Newport, Rhode Island. I love the beach. I love the community, and I love being a part of a community. I love helping people. I'm very for me, like, my business is successful and I love being an entrepreneur, but I'm not the type, I want to share that. So I'm constantly mentoring people who want to get into a similar field as me. I love to share the knowledge. I think it's important. I think there's like enough love to give to everybody. And like, I think that's just me. I know that I'm not a perfect person, but like I love my imperfections. And like I like being transparent with like who I am. Like I like to make fun of myself. Like I really do. I'm like the brunt of all my jokes with my friends. Like it's always me. Like they're always making fun of me. And yeah, that's just a little bit about me and yeah.
And how'd you get into thrifting?
So college, I was a broke girl in college. I went to school in South Florida, so I would go to the thrifting there, and like it's the best thrift. And I had a little side gig where I would sell on my Instagram, and it did really well. And I would do it on the side. I would buy a bunch, and then I wouldn't keep up with it. But I also, when I was in college, I took fashion courses and realized the negative impacts of fast fashion. And there's just so much. I could talk about it for hours. But basically, how important it is to shop secondhand. So I knew I always wanted to start a store. And I did. When I moved to Newport, I was like, I love this community. I see that there's a need for it. And then I opened my store, and
I love that.
Yeah.
Are you the only store? Thrift store?
There's like there's consignment. So it's like not a curated thrift store, but yeah.
And I always wondered, are people dropping off their items, or are you sourcing like around?
So I go sourcing all over.
Okay. That's fun.
Yeah, we don't. I know. I'm like, I need to find the best places around here in LA.
They're so expensive.
They're so expensive, but no, like the thrift.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. No, I mean the thrifting. I went thrifting.
Oh, really?
I went to Stagecoach with my boyfriend, and we were like, we'll thrift you an outfit. And I'm like, geez, these thrift stores are making a lot of money.
Sometimes I'm like, yeah, because majority of them is donations.
But it's LA. Like I'm sure like your store is much. I mean,
it gets expensive,
but you have to think it is also, I mean, it's quality fashion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like fast fashion. So I do understand the price point.
Yeah.
But I always envision thrifting like, in my mind, like, here's $5. I'll take this jean jacket.
Oh, yeah.
Like, no, you're buying a quality piece.
Yeah.
And you'll be paying for that quality piece.
Right.
Which I love. But yeah, have you been to the thrift stores here?
I've been to, so there's a difference between thrift and vintage stores.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking vintage.
I think
is
you
that
are.
What I'm thinking? Because I'm like.
Because basically, the vintage store owners will go to the thrift stores and like curate their stores, curate their own store. So basically.
I think that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Of, yeah.
So I mean, sometimes people will price extremely high, but you're not, when you go into a vintage store, you're not. You know that everything's going to be good there. You're not like sorting through.
Oh, everything was so good.
Oh yeah. So that's a vintage store.
Especially for Stagecoach. I was like finding everything, like all the denim and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations? Like first, I'm obviously a newbie, but like any recommendations of like, if you're in a thrift store, like where do you start? Sometimes it's overwhelming. You're like, where do I go?
Oh yeah. So you got to think about what you want currently. Like, okay, well, like what do I need in my closet? And then you go to that section and like, well, when I'm thrifting per se, like I always look, I strictly want to get vintage pieces because everything was made better and it's more durable. And so it depends on what it is, but you can find like the year of the pair of Levi's. If you look in the tag, it will say the year. So it's like,
I didn't know that.
yeah. And
I love
anything
that.
that's 20 years or older is considered vintage.
Okay, I'm totally thinking vintage stores,
Yeah.
not thrift stores. But and okay,
You're
so you're
okay.
saying go in and then have like a peace in mind.
Yeah, because you don't want to
you need, like,
overwhelm
an
yourself.
agenda.
Yeah, because you can go in and totally overwhelm yourself. And like sometimes people are like, I really don't want to go through every single piece. So yeah, if you kind of just like, all right, what do I want right now? What am I looking for? Go to that section. Think about like, look at the tag. For me, like, I think of like things that I'm going to wear a lot often, like jackets. Like you wear jackets a lot, shoes a lot. So things like that, I would probably spend more money on. And pair of jeans too. A good pair of jeans can always use.
Yeah, and you have your staple pieces in your closet that you're like, these are.
Yeah, it's hard because I am always like, oh, it's so good. I want to put it in my store. And then sometimes I'll be like, shit, like
between,
I don't
like,
have
your
any good
closet
things in
and
my
the
own
store.
closet. Yeah. Yeah. So
I feel like
but
that makes it fun.
it's so fun. I love what I do.
Because
I'm not
as
a
like an
millionaire.
entrepreneur, you can get like burnout, but I feel like if you're constantly sourcing pieces for your store and it's like authentically you,
Yeah.
it always keeps it exciting because you can
Right.
travel around with your girlfriends.
Yeah.
And you're like, we'll just like pop into the vintage and thrift stores and thrift, put it in the store. I
Right.
love it. I'm
Yeah.
learning so much.
It's also too, it's like I have a thrifting problem, I have a shopping problem, but like at least I'm going to make money off of it too.
Oh,
so I
yeah.
can't feel that guilty.
Yeah.
You know?
And did you sort of like as an entrepreneur, like when you're pricing things, did you kind of just make it up?
No, so there's
'Cause
definitely
I've made up like all of my entrepreneur things. I'm like, I guess I'll go with this fee and that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
Did you like ask around or?
So I kind of learned like when pricing. So I take the piece and what I get it for, and then I say, okay, well, thinking about what I pay for rent, employees, the cost of like we have to pay for bags, we have to pay for. There is just so much, and being like having a brick and mortar is so expensive. Like just having, like all the things that like the permits I need to have. I need a permit to sell secondhand clothing. I need a permit to sell on holidays. It's insane. And it's like hundreds of dollars. And then just even having your LLC is like an arm and a leg. But basically, I incorporate like all of my expenses and make sure that I'm still going to be making a profit out of it. So I will take my price point and times it by a certain amount, but I do want to stay reasonable, like make it worth it for me, but also make it worth for my customers because I don't want them to walk in and be like, wow, this is so expensive. Like I want them to feel like they're getting like a bang for their buck, which honestly, like majority of our shirts are like $25, which is like
that's
very
good.
inexpensive. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And
Yeah, the ones I'm talking about in LA were like $200.
yeah, no, honestly, like like if there's a $200 piece, it has to be like a
worth
really nice jacket that is like a certain brand or something, like leather, or, things like that. And then we're starting to incorporate like vintage designer, which is cool.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it. So you can keep just changing things up and like I feel like it's always exciting. Do you have any are you happy with where you are or do you have like ideas with scaling or just building it out?
Yeah. So I would say I'm happy, but I'm never satisfied.
Yeah.
I always want to grow. I hate feeling stagnant. I feel like I'm at a place right now where I do feel a little stagnant. I would love to have another location. Like financially, I'm not in that place right now, but it's definitely in my 5-year plan, I'd say. I've also considered living in LA. I just feel like there's a lot more opportunity out here, and there's such a big community of people that would fit into my clientele. Obviously, there's more competition out here as well.
Makes
So
it
there's
more
that.
fun.
Yeah, it makes it more. Yeah, like I'm very happy with where I'm at. And my store does really well where it's at. So I am a little nervous to find another location. I want to make sure that I know the ins and outs of like where the next location would be. I also have had I would say like I want to start my own like denim brand, recycled denim brand. That's always been like kind of a dream of mine for a while. But yeah, I've thought about all of it, all of the things.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like so much to do. So in divine timing, I feel like
Right.
it's nice to sort of just enjoy the journey and not plan.
Right.
But always have that in the back of your mind of like, we're going to scale, we're going to do big things.
Yeah.
What's meant to be will always be.
Right. And I think like right now, I've been focusing a lot more on myself personally, like in my mental health, because it was definitely, this was the hardest year of my entire life for sure. And I'm finally starting to feel like myself again. And I'm doing that by like practicing, a work and personal life balance, and also working out and, going to therapy and things like that, which I think is really important, so.
Yeah, and just like getting to know yourself again.
Yeah.
The new you.
Right. I
You'll never be.
Right. I definitely lost
yeah.
touch with myself for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I would say, long story short, pre-COVID, I was very lost in who I was and what I wanted to do with my life. I ended up packing up my things, moved to Thailand. I unplugged for like a whole summer.
By yourself?
By myself. Didn't know anybody.
I'm like learning so much about
Oh my God, I could tell you. Yeah, Thailand.
I was need like a second episode.
I know. I was in the boonies of Thailand. I was the only white person in the town.
Oh my gosh.
I loved it though. Everyone was so sweet and so kind and like took me in as their own, and the culture is absolutely incredible. But I fell off the face of the earth a little bit, and I found myself, like truly found myself, and it was because I wasn't really in the social media world too,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm starting to find that Sydney again
Without traveling to Thailand.
without being in Thailand.
like a local form
Right.
of
The
finding
only
myself
English speaking
locally.
native. Yeah.
Wow.
So-
I mean, I love that story. It says so much about you, because I think it takes a very strong, independent woman to do that.
Yeah.
I barely want to travel anywhere alone. In the airport, I'm like such a passenger princess. I'm like, where am I going? And like, I would be taken.
Yeah.
Like the movie.
See, no, I'm the one. I'm like, I get up and go by myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love
mean,
it.
I would love to do it with like people. I'd rather be with people, but
Yeah.
I think that was so necessary for me at that time.
Yeah, I mean, and I love that you just listen to your intuition and you go, and you seem very free-spirited. And I mean, I do feel like there's so much that people don't know about you, and you have so many layers. And it's like, I hope this episode shows people a little bit of the real you that nobody has any idea about.
Right.
It's like, don't always believe what is shown. It's like little bits and pieces, right?
Right.
And my last question, I feel like I started high and we were getting positive, and now I want to bring it down. What would you? I'm like, I should have done it opposite.
No, it's okay.
But what is your advice to somebody? And in my mind, I always think these like little girls and boys on TikTok who are 13 trying to be influencers with their Sephora products.
Yeah.
What is your advice to somebody getting cyberbullied, where they feel like they're drowning, they're questioning their self-worth, they don't know where to go? What is your advice to them?
Yeah, so I think to recognize that it's never about you. At the end of the day, it stems from the person who's giving hate's insecurities. And also to don't be afraid to talk to somebody about it. I think like for me, talking about my feelings with my friends and family was the most therapeutic thing and has helped me so much, because you're not alone in this. I think people I felt very alone in all of this, and your feelings are valid, and if you feel upset, you have every right to feel that way, but you are not alone, and there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And yeah.
And what about, questioning like who you were,
Right.
of like sort of like finding your way back to that person again, right?
Right.
Of like staying true to who you are.
Yeah,
How do you
stand in your
block out that
truth.
noise? It's so hard of like.
It's so hard. And I'll be honest, like it depends on the day for me. Like sometimes I'm so good, and then I get sucked back in and I'm feeling so low again.
Yeah.
And I just think that like there is nothing wrong with you. Like for me, I have to keep telling myself there is nothing wrong with me. I know who I am. I'm a good person, and I don't deserve this. Like I think that people need to know that they are not deserving of this hate. No one is.
Yeah. I love that, and it's so true.
Yeah.
And people, I'm like, I feel like we have a lot to work on. You and we're going to make a change.
Yes.
Get ready. I feel so like sure about this.
Yes.
And it may not be overnight, but as long as we can keep building our community, you, me, other people who this resonates with, as
Right.
long as we can keep building and building and building,
Right.
there will be a change. We're not going to sit back and let this happen year after year.
Right.
And like there's little kids on social media now. It's like, I don't want little kids. It frustrates me so much. I want to scream.
No, I know.
There's literal children on TikTok who are so innocent and pure.
I know.
And they're seeing people bullying you thinking that's okay. We're like making it okay to bully people. And so I'm excited to do this movement and campaign with you.
Me too.
And it's not a one and done.
No.
I hate when people have a movement and they're like, we're doing this thing and it's one and done. People forget about it. Like, we're not going to shut up.
No, we're along for the ride.
Yes. You're going to like,
Hop
we're
on
going to
in.
hop on in. We're going to make the change. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. And
Thank you for
speaking
having me.
Your truth. We have a long day ahead of
Definitely.
us. So
Yes, I know.
we got to go. Until next time, y'all.